Good evening, tackle traders, and hello, YouTube. This is Frank from Tackle Trading, here to take you through the Tackle Trading website, get you a little more comfortable with the tools that we have, the schedule that we have, show you around a little bit to hopefully make you a little bit more comfortable with us here at Tackle Trading. I'm going to give us 1 second to see if I can actually see our screen. I imagine I get the chat out here. Of course, those of you who know me know that I am not particularly tech savvy. So, and there we go. Now I've got 2 sounds going on. That's not how I wanted to do this. I'm not sure if you're hearing that too. So let's see if we could find. All right, I'm going to give up on that for just a moment, and I'm going to figure out how to get this chat up and running. And welcome out, folks. If you're saying hello, hello. Hope you're doing well and have had a great Monday here trading. Let's see. Give me 1 moment here. Throw me to the wolves, right? What's really crazy is I hear myself on my other device, which is, I think I figured out how to get rid of that one. All right, there we go. All right, now I got rid of the sound. Now it's all about finding the chat box here. And I know that I can do it because I did it before. I did it in our 10,000 anniversary. All right, good deal. All right, so let's see if we can make this work this time, right? So, all right. When I'm explaining tackle trading, the way I kind of like to do it is break it into 3 different components. I break it into things that you can do on your own. That's going to be things like courses, blogs, tools, FinViz scanning, that type of stuff. Then, so that's kind of the first part. The second part, our regular schedule. What are we doing? When are we doing it? What should you expect in that show or at that time? And then lastly, our weekend reports. Every weekend we get our scattering reports to our community, our stock, option, commodity, and forex report, as well as our newsletter to help them better prepare for the upcoming trading week. So that'll kind of be the way that we go about it here tonight. We'll kind of hit it, one of those at a time as we're moving along. If you have questions, feel free to ask as soon as I get this chat box figured out. And I know that I can get it figured out. Well, let me rephrase that. I think that I can get it figured out. I'll be able to, I'll do my best to answer any questions that you might have. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into that first portion, things that you can do on your own. And if you're anything like me, probably the thing that jumps out the most to you would be courses, right? We have several courses available to all of our pro members. We also have a handful of premium systems that I'll briefly discuss here so you can know a little bit more about them. If you want some more information on them, you can, of course, head over into the store. You can send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. You can hop in the clubhouse and ask folks who are using those systems what they think. But just so you know what they are, our Tackle 25 is a covered call-based system off of a select group of stocks we put together each year, designed specifically for covered calls. So both fundamentally and options is going to be a big part of that. Our step system is our swing trading system, stop loss target, entry and position size. Our cash flow condors is another cash flow system on the Russell 2000. And of course, the bear market survival guide is probably exactly what you think when you hear that, protecting our long-term portfolio in bearish market conditions, dealing with that volatility, profiting in those conditions. Like I said, if you want any more information on any of those, don't hesitate to reach out to us, team@tackletrading.com. Mark will take good care of you in answering your questions on those different systems. Kind of coming back to the focus of our meeting tonight, though, let's talk about all of the courses that are available to our pro members. We have our 7-step guide to trading, and this is one of those courses. It's a short course, only about, I think, about 2 hours long. I encourage everybody I meet, and I meet a lot of traders, brand new traders who've never done anything, folks who got into it the last 3 months, people who've been doing it for years. And this course, I always feel really comfortable saying, you know what, I'd go through this no matter where you are in the process. This will do a couple things. One, it'll help you kind of get to know, I guess, what I call the tackle trading way, right? No two traders are exactly the same. We're all going to have our own personal, risk tolerance, entry rules, things of that nature. But I think at the foundational level, we can work with what works, right? And that's really what we're doing over here in the 7-step guide to trading, from starting at the top of the markets, taking that top-down approach. Hey, what's the broad market doing? How are the different sectors, the industries within those sector groups, right? Going with the flow, if you will, into choosing our strategies, finding our trades, planning or prepping those trades, of course, placing them, managing them, and of course, journaling them really will help you get a better understanding of kind of the way we approach as a team the markets here at Tackle Trading. If you're a new trader, it can really be helpful to get your daily routine going. Daily routine is very important to traders. And if you're a new trader, you might not know really where to start on that. This can really help from that perspective. If you've been trading for a while, you probably have a routine down. And so I wouldn't expect this to replace it, but maybe can give you a couple of ideas that maybe can make your routine just a little bit better for you. Each of our courses are broken into smaller modules or lessons, so you don't have to sit down and go through this, in a 2-hour block if you don't want to. 15, 20-minute lessons or modules is about kind of the way that'll work. Definitely would encourage everybody to take a chance to work through that course. Beyond that, Technical Analysis 101, we're traders, right? Which means charting is very important to all of us. That's how we're deciding when we're getting in, where we're targeting, where we're initially placing our stop, how we're managing that trade along the way. I mean, the better we are at charting, the more comfortable we're going to be with everything, right? And Technical Analysis 101 can be a great refresher if you've been around a little while, can be a great place to start if you're new to the market and new to technical analysis. This Technical Analysis 101 course should really help you get going. So whether it's review or kind of your first real, foray into technical analysis, I think you'll benefit a lot from Technical Analysis 101. As a side note, over in the shows tab, you'll find Tackle 100 series live webinars. And in here, you're going to find several recorded webinars, and we'll talk a little bit about all of them since we're here, but specifically, we came here because Coach Noah taught Tech 101 for us. It's been a bit now, but he taught this live to our team a little while back. It's a two-parter. Each of these webinars is about 2 hours long, so you're looking at about 4 hours in total with the awesome Coach Noah really taking you through that technical analysis and helping you wrap your head around that charting. Another great addition if you're looking to beef up your technical analysis skills. Since we're in here in this Tackle 100 series, there's also a Swing Trading 101 webinar that Coach Matt did for us. This one's really good as well. Can really help kind of with beyond the trade identification, stop loss placement, entry techniques, targeting techniques. Really good webinar if you're looking to be a swing trader. Would definitely make some time for that one. If you're interested in the futures market but have never really known where to start to even look into it to see if it's worth pursuing, Coach Grant has a great Futures 101 webinar in here. You'll also find multiple step system webinars, as I kind of brought up earlier. That's our swing trading style system, right? This can really help get you some ideas for what that step system's all about, but specifically rules for setting up your entries and your stop losses and setting your target prices and properly position sizing. So really helpful stuff if you're looking to build out some rules or want to just get a little bit more info on what the step system's all about. You can catch them all, you can catch one, but they're really good. Definitely worth the watch in my personal opinion. You'll also find an Options 101 course. Now, our Options 101 course is going to focus a lot more on the contract than a bunch of different strategies. And I'll show you the strategies where you can find them here in just a moment. But it's really going to focus on, hey, what happens when you buy or sell that call or put contract? How does time impact it? How does volatility impact that? How does time, or we already got time, how does movement impact that, right? There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to options. And the more we understand why that option is doing what it's doing, why it lost 30 cents today, or why it made $1 today, or whatever it might be, I think the easier it's going to be as we get into those different strategies. We'll hop over to the strategy side here in just a moment, but before we do, there are also futures and forex courses in here if you're interested in either or both of those markets. A lot of times, and certainly for me, I didn't really look into futures or forex in my early trading, and granted this was a while back now, because I felt intimidated. I felt like those markets were probably too big for me. I was, who was I, right? Really, they're just markets, right? They're not a whole lot different in a lot of ways than any other market. Then, I'm more of an equity trader myself, but you're still looking at, movement. You're still looking at identifying trades through technical analysis. There's just different things going on over there as well. Both of them are very leveraged, right? How does that leverage work? What is a pip in forex, right? What is a tick on an S&P contract? So if you're interested and just have never felt like you could get a clear understanding of what was going on, why in these markets and why they move the way they do, these can be really great introductions to give you at least some strength. I don't care what anybody trades. I think people should trade what they want to trade, what they're comfortable trading, but I never want someone to say I can't trade forex because I can't trade forex, right? If you don't want to trade forex, great, right? If that's your favorite thing, great. But I always want it to come from a place of strength, if you will. These courses can really help get you up to speed with what's going on in those two different markets, again, currencies for forex and futures, where we're seeing our gold, our oil, and of course our index futures, right? They're pretty handy things as well. You will also in here find the System Development 101 course, and I cannot stress this enough. While I don't care what you trade and why you like to trade the things you like to trade, that's your business. And I care that people are making money in the market, not that they're what they're doing it with. We all need to have clear systems and rules. And I think at face value, we all understand that. I've never heard anybody said that, Frank, nah, you just wing it and hope for the best. That's not what we do. We know that it's important to have rules, but for whatever reason, a lot of us don't naturally think in terms of system design and system building, especially when it comes to our money and trading. It's something we have to be able to do, right? And this system development course is really designed to kind of flip the switch that's in your brain. And for the vast majority of us, I think that's what it is. Personally, is just a little switch that once you start thinking like that, you'll just keep thinking like that, whether you want to or not. You'll want to, but I don't know that you could turn the switch off even if you wanted to be honest with you. This will really help flip that switch for you. This is a fantastic course. Coach Christian put this one together for us. And, I can't, whoever you are and wherever you are in the process and whatever you like to trade, I can't stress enough how I would make time in your life to go through that system development course. I think you will get a lot out of it, no matter who you are as a trader. Beyond the courses, not everything has to be a course. We're going to be doing blog content regularly. Of course, I brought up earlier, our Tackle 25 is our covered call-based system, more charting overs in the Tales of a Technician, taking concepts from the ground up and kind of running with them over in the Rookie Corner with Coach Greg, more on options in the Options Theory blog, hearing from our awesome female trading community over in the Women in Trading blog. These are going to be short reads, depending on how fast you read, probably 5, 6, 7 minutes. I mean, they're not going to, be, long-winded, but just another way that we can share ideas, that we can reach out and teach our team members over here at Tackle Trading. In the Trade Center, we're going to spend a little time here. First off, we talked about those options, right? The Options 101 really focusing on the contract, where we're going to find our strategies, and that'll be over in the Trade Center. In here, you will find the Tackle Trading Playbook. I'll let this show up here. And here's where you'll find all of our strategies and the rules for those strategies. Now, we break our strategies selection into 3 core areas: delta, theta, and vega, based off of the option Greeks. If you're familiar with options, that probably makes sense. If not, that's okay. I'll explain it. Delta is movement or directional. What most of us think about when we first get into trading: oh, I'll buy this for 67 and sell it for 72. Right? That type of stuff. I think this is going from point A to point B. Or movement, D for direction. That, of course, is going to include stock, right? Buying and selling stock, always going to be a viable option, especially here in the States now, where so many of these brokers have the $0 commission on the stock and ETFs. So, buying 100 shares of Coca-Cola, that's a delta trade, right? Of course, there's going to be our option strategies as well. With stock, it's, for better and for worse, that's what we can do. We can buy, sell, or do nothing, right? So there are no other alternatives. But of course, there's a lot of different things we can do in the options market: buying call and put options, buying protective puts as we get into an earnings season, lowering our cost, or taming that volatility a little bit with debit spreads, bull call or bear put spreads, looking for aggressive moves with back spreads, diagonal spreads. So all of these strategies are movement-based strategies, right? I think the stock's going up or down, and I want to build a trade that reflects that. So you're going to have your delta strategies, then you're going to have your theta or your cash flow strategy. Theta, T for time, right? That's going to be, hey, I own 100 shares of company XYZ. I'm going to sell a call to bring in a little bit of extra cash on top of that. So covered calls, naked puts. Hey, I don't own 100 shares of XYZ, but I would love to if it ever dropped to this price, and I'll sell a put option, bring in some cash flow. And if it doesn't get there, at least I made a little money. If it does get there, great. I wanted it to get there so I could buy it, right? Of course, you have to be ready, willing, and able to buy it if you're going to do naked puts, but that's another conversation. Another way to cash flow: credit spreads. Hey, I think this is going to stay above or stay below this price threshold over the course of the next month, or whatever the case might be. Iron condors, marrying 2 credit spreads together. So these theta-based strategies are one of the huge benefits of options, right? We can sell them. Unlike stock, where we can buy or sell or do nothing, with options, I can buy them or I can sell them to you or to somebody else, and I can take advantage of the passage of time. So theta is going to be a big part for a lot of traders. And then I call it the little brother of the playbook and of option trading in general, and that's vega or volatility. I expect big movement in a short time frame. Earnings is always what jumps to my mind when it comes to volatility-based strategies. Companies have an upcoming earnings report. It's scheduled. I know when it is. Based off of that company's history, I might think it's going to move more than the market does, and want to build a straddle or a strangle to reflect that. Or maybe the market thinks it's going to move a lot, but based on my evaluation, I think that that's crazy talk, and I want to do a short strangle or something like that. So these are going to be volatility based, not movement. Hey, I expect this to move a lot. I just don't know which way. And earnings, how am I supposed to know if it's going to move a lot up or down, right? That'll depend on what the earnings report is and how the market responds to it. But maybe based off of that company's history, I can say, yeah, it probably is going to move a lot, right? And if I want to build a trade to reflect that, I want to be able to do that. So that's going to be our volatility. In each of these, as you probably have seen, you will have a detailed video going, what the strategy is, how would you build the strategy, what are our rules for the strategy, what does the risk to reward profile look like. You will also find an example on TOS. If you're using Thinkorswim for your trading platform, I can give you an example of how to set the order up. There's also a downloadable cheat sheet PDF, so you have those rules available to you just by the click of a button if you need them. In all of these strategies, you probably will have noticed a +2 to +3, a 0 to a +2, right? A -1 to a -3. We want to match the strategy to the situation, right? And so 0 would be neutral. Very neutral, no opinion, don't expect the stock to move at all, right? Plus or -1 would be, and this may be the way I word them, slightly bullish or bearish. 2 would be moderately bullish, -2 moderately bearish, and then 3 very bullish or very bearish on the -3. So we'll let you know where this strategy fits from that point of view too. If I think company ABC is going to run on a breakout, I'm going to be more inclined to want to do something that can run with it, right? That the more it goes, the more I make. So if I think there's going to be a big move on company XYZ, I might want to buy some calls. I might want to buy shares of the stock. I might want to do a ratio spread, right? You might have the same read. Hey, I think that's going to go up, but I don't think it's going to go up as fast as you do, you crazy person. I want to do something that's maybe a little bit more on the conservative side. Maybe I'll look at a bull call spread or a credit spread or something like that. So we want to match the strategy to the situation. This is, we'll let you kind of know, hey, this is where we put this strategy as far as that 0 to 3, 0 to -3 is concerned. This will probably keep you pretty busy as you're getting to know these different strategies, but hopefully that explained that. And again, that's in the Trade Center, Tackle Trading Playbook. Also in the Trade Center, you'll find a link to our trading journals, a link to our glossary, a link to our events calendar. We are pretty regimented around here, so it should be fairly easy to get comfortable with our schedule and routine, but until you are, you aren't, right? All of that will be in there. If you go directly into the Trade Center, this will bring you kind of to a What's Up at Tackle Trading page. In here, you'll have what's our next show, our Traders Lounge coming up tomorrow morning, our most recent posts, our latest report, most recent tweet. There is a watch list function in here as well. If you'd like to have easy access while you're at Tackle Trading without having to log into your broker, if that's where you're doing your charting, just want to have easy access to a watch list. It's built in here. All you would need to do is just put in your symbol, tell it, and there's enter. That's going to get us Autodesk here in this example. I'm just going to left click. It's going to highlight it blue here. I'm going to hit this little plus up here, and that is going to add Autodesk to my watch list. Now, if I leave this page and come back, it'll still be here. If I decide, you know what, I'm just done with you in my watch list, McDonald's, I want you gone, I'm just going to select this again, left click, it'll highlight it, I'll hit the minus, and that will get rid of that for me. If you, this is one of those things that is really helpful for the people it's helpful for, and other people that are doing all of this stuff all at the same time. I like to be able to just hop over to a web-based browser without having to log into any, a secure account just to see what's going on. But that's me, right? If I did all of my trading at 7:30, in the evening, I probably would do it, a little bit differently. So this is one that can be really helpful. But if you're comfortable with doing it directly over on your platform, that's cool too. There's going to be a little kind of short-term upcoming calendar. All right, so just what's the next little bit of time look like. There will also be a replay to our YouTube webinars. Usually it's going to be the halftime report. Right now, it is the onboarding webinar that we're doing right now. If you're in a course, if you're taking the futures course or whatever, and you left, halfway through module 2, it'll let you know right where you left off, so you can pick right back up where you left. So you don't have to spend your time trying to figure out where exactly did I leave. That's pretty handy. There are also going to be several trading tools in here, as well as a link to tradingjustice.com. Our friends Matt, Mark, and Tim every week do the Trading Justice podcast. You can find that on all of the different podcast providers. But if you're like me and don't do the podcast thing, you can listen to it directly over on tradingjustice.com. They actually had me on last week. It was fun. We drafted the Dow. It's always a good listen, very informative, always a lot of fun. Would definitely encourage you to incorporate that into your daily routine. It's free, just fun, fun listen every week. There's also a fantastic monthly newsletter over on Trading Justice that is very much worth your time to read through each month. Always super informative and very well received. So this will take you directly to tradingjustice.com. You can get there any way you get to, anywhere on the internet, right? But this link will take you directly over to tradingjustice.com. Where you can get that information. There is a link to the Market Skyline. Here in the Market Skyline, this will kind of bring us up a page where we've got the major indexes, right? Hey, what'd the market do today, right? A lot of nothing, right? A lot of back and forth, a little bit to the downside, but nothing too dramatic. So all our indexes, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, RUT, Bitcoin, the emerging markets, the major commodities, gold, silver, copper, crude oil, nat gas, right? as well as the sector spider ETFs. If you're not familiar with the sector spider ETFs, what they do is they'll go into the S&P 500 and they'll pull out just the stocks in that area. Say XLE, for example, is the energy sector spider ETF. Go into the S&P, pull out just the energy stocks and put those energy stocks into a portfolio. These are ETFs, of course, meaning they're tradable, and these particular ETFs are optionable. Now we're looking at a kind of an isolated look at just the energy sector or just the financial sector or just whatever sector it might be, right? And while, there's always going to be outliers, it can really help us understand where, what did it do today? What did the sector do today? Where is it overall? Very handy way, in my personal opinion, to stay on top of how the different sectors are doing in our language, right? In traders' language. My language is charts. I don't want to read a giant article on, the energy sector. I want to look at the chart and say, this is what I see, and this is what I want to do. Again, you can trade these. They're very liquid ETFs, and they do have options, or you can use them as your guide. That tends to be my preference. I'm not opposed to trading them, but all things being equal, if I like what I see in a particular sector, I'm more likely to go look for stocks in that sector than trade the portfolio itself. But that's just me. Doesn't make me right or wrong, just makes me can be a great addition to your daily routine. I've never found an easier way to stay on top of the sectors. Practical, convenient, fast, easy, all of the above, which is of course what we want as traders. So just, the big stuff, right? The sectors, the market, the different commodities. And I would definitely encourage you, whether you're doing it here in the market skyline or not, I would definitely encourage you to incorporate these things into your daily routine. If you haven't done so already, it will really make a big difference. I always say the market's like a soap opera. And just like any soap opera, if you follow it day to day, once you're caught up with the story, it's pretty easy to stay up with the story, right? But if you miss 2 weeks, you come back and Lord knows what's happened, right? So it really is important to stay on top of the market. You'll also find a heat map, a link to a heat map in here. This, of course, will just take you to finviz.com, where we can take a look at the heat map for the day for the S&P 500, see, what did what, right? Where was our weakness today, right? Energy, pretty rough today. Industrials, not particularly great day. Good, solid movement over in the utility sector, right? So just a quick visual of what did they do? What did it look like, right? This is pretty customizable. While its default is set up on the S&P for a one-day performance, you can look at the world, you can look at the last 3 months worth of performance, right? To see, what's been strong or weak over the last 3 months. So pretty customizable. You can look at based off of certain fundamental ratios like PE or dividend yield, how did it perform on its earnings date, that type of stuff. So pretty helpful. There's also a screener tool. If you're not familiar with FinViz, you can just smack the screener button and you can do some scanning over here if you would like to do so as well. We'll have a pre-built scanner and I'll show you where you can find that in our newsletter. But that is, certainly can be part of what we like to do as traders. All right, let's see. So we've got our skyline, right? Our daily routine, our charts for broad market, sectors, commodities, heat maps. If we want to take a look at the heat map, if we want to do a little bit of scanning over on FinViz, you'll also find a news aggregator in here. So you don't have to bounce around through a whole bunch of different sites. This will go through many of the big financial sites, CNBC, MarketWatch, Wall Street Journal, right? The Times is in here somewhere as well, where just kind of will get all of these headlines in one place. So I can just kind of do a quick scroll and browse, right? If any of these things catch my eye, oh, hey, Stitch Fix had a big earnings report. Let's go take a look at it. Maybe that's interesting to me. Maybe you look at it and say, that means nothing, right? So it's just going to save me a whole lot of bouncing around. It's really handy. I'm not a big newsy guy, as anyone who knows me know, but a lot of the folks that I do know that like to follow, the stories and the headlines, they really like this tool because it save them a whole bunch of clicks, right? So if I don't want to read this, I don't have to go to a different website. So very handy. A link to the economic calendar is going to be in here. All right, so you can see what this economic calendar looks like today or this week. Another link to our market reports which you can also find up here. And we'll talk about here in a few. You can find that in here. Another link to our trade journal. Now, if you come into our trade journal directly from the Trade Center like we just did, it'll bring up the tutorial. You might not need it, but you might, and there's no shame in it. I did. For a long time, I kept my journal in Word document format because I'm not a spreadsheet guy, but spreadsheets are a lot easier to digest that information, right? So I needed a little bit of help when I first started using the Tackle Trading Journal. So I won't judge you for it. Just will walk you through the process. The cool thing is it's really pretty user friendly, right? We basically need to let it know what we did, and it's going to fill out the rest for us, right? Today I bought company XYZ at such and such price and so many shares. When I sell it on Thursday, I'll journal it as appropriate. It'll track my profit loss. Let me know how long I'm in the trade. What's my average profit? What's my average loss? What's my winning percentage? Most importantly, what's my gross profit versus my gross loss? So really, really handy information. If you're not journaling your trades, you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice. Every trade you make is data if you let it be. And if you struggle with journaling, I get that too. I'm, you have to be organized as a trader, but I'm not an organized person in my normal life. So at all, it really is important though. This is really important information for you. A really good trick just to think about as an extension of what you're doing anyway. At the end of every trading day, we're all going to go look at our trading accounts, see what happened today, right? What'd you get into? What'd you get out of? You're going to do it. I'm going to do it. Every trader I know is going to do it unless they are on vacation, and they should. But even if they shouldn't, we're all going to go peek, right? What happened today? Of course, we're going to do that. It's the responsible thing to do, and curiosity is going to get us even if it isn't, right? So as an extension of that, well, you're already in your account, seeing what you got into today. Oh, hey, I did get into XYZ. Pop over to your journal, XYZ. I bought a call, I bought the stock, whatever I did. What's the date? What's my price? What was my position size? Boom, I'm done. Especially as a swing trader. If you're a day trader, I don't know what to tell you. Still should journal your trades, but I wouldn't want to, I'm not a day trader, so I don't have great tricks for that one. As a swing trader, though, the vast majority of the time, I'm not getting in and out the same day. Yeah, that will happen. Sometimes I'll get in and it'll immediately hit my stop loss, right? Or it'll just go crazy and run up and somehow hit my first target and even second target, just right place, right time, right? I'll always take that. But for the most part, I'm not getting in and out on the same day as a swing trader, right? So most times it's, hey, I did get into XYZ today. And one of these days I'm going to open up that account and I'm going to see that I hit my stop loss or, hit my sell limit or whatever it is. And oh, wait, I got out of it. I'm going to journal the other part. So during your day to day, and if you already have a routine for your journals, keep it, right? But if you're struggling with them, your day to day, it's just about collecting that data. It's not trying to figure out what it all means on a Thursday night, right? We've got other things to probably do on a Thursday night, but we want to collect that data. And if it's just an extension of, hey, I'm checking my account, see what I did today, what got into, what I got out of, which we're going to do and we should be doing anyway, just bring up your journal and journal as appropriate. And then over the weekend or every other weekend or after every 10 trades or whatever works for you, when you have some time on a Saturday afternoon, then you can dive deep and go through those 10 trades and say, okay, what did my winners have in common? What did my losers have in common? Or any themes starting to develop here that I can recognize that, if I was just a little slower to move my stop, I would have made a lot more money this week or whatever it is. Those themes will develop. Maybe not the first week, maybe not the first 10 trades, but they will. They will develop over time and you'll be able to recognize them. So hopefully that can give you a couple tips if you're struggling with your journaling process. Just think about it as an extension of what you're doing anyway. Most of the time, your Monday through Friday, that's all that it is. And then when it's time to digest the journal, well, the information's there. Now we can spend that time on a Saturday afternoon really going through it and figuring out what it all means and how we could make it a little bit better for ourselves. If you're in the trading journals this way, you'll find the links to download them in here as well as just directly in the link itself up here in the Trade Center drop down. We'll find our trade journal, that's what we just looked at, the theta research journal for building out your credit trades, right? Building out your covered calls, building out your naked puts, building out your credit spreads, right? So it can really helpful tool for our cash flow type of traders. We're people, right? And if we look at two trades, two credit trades, two naked puts, we'll say, and we can sell one for $100, the other one for $75, because we're people, we naturally are going to side with the, well, I'd rather get $100 than 75. Of course I would. In a bubble, yes, everyone would, right? $100 is better than $75 in a bubble, but that's not reality, right? What if I'm a lot more likely to keep the 75? What if I have a 93% chance to keep the 75 and a 64% chance to keep 100? Well, that changes my opinion pretty dramatically, right? And so what this data research journal can really help you do on top of, stay on track of things is compare apples to apples, right? How much cushion do I get? How much wiggle room do I have to be wrong before this, naked put starts to get threatened and that type of stuff? It really will change your cash flow trading if you use it. And of course, your portfolio journal. If you got two trades going on right now, it's probably pretty easy to stay organized, right? You probably know exactly what you did, when you did it, why you did it, all that fun stuff. But if you got 16 trades going on that you've built over the last 5 weeks, it can be a lot more difficult, right? Staying organized is very important. We need to know where we are in our portfolio at all times, right? And this portfolio journal should really be able to help you stay organized, so you know exactly where you are in your overall portfolio. I love trading journals. Even my old wonky Word document, I loved it. It just was harder to stay organized with it. So this is definitely better, in my opinion, at least. You'll find a link to the compounding gains calculator to show us the compounding power of money, a link to a chart if you ever need one, link to our glossary, a link to the search function, which you can also find this little magnifying glass right up here. Will take you there as well. And just as a side note, the search function is pretty smart. If you're ever looking for something, never hesitate to send us an email or ask me on Twitter or something like that. But a lot of times the easiest thing to do is just do a quick search. If you're looking for information on covered calls, just throw it in there, scroll down and tell it to show you all the results, and you will find lots of stuff on covered calls, right? Timing covered calls. So we've got a snippet from the lounge, a blog, a nice, conversation on stop losses on them. Right? All sorts of stuff on that particular topic. The search function is very, very smart. So if you're ever looking for something, like I said, never hesitate to ask. We're happy to help you find it. But a lot of times the fastest and easiest thing to do is just hit the search button, right? That'll take you where you need to go. Really quick before we kind of shift gears into talking about the schedule, let's talk a little bit about the Clubhouse. The Clubhouse is kind of our own personal social media, for lack of a better way to put it, our own Facebook. That is where we can get in and ask questions, bounce ideas around with one another, share what's going on as traders. I invite everybody to join us over there. Get in there, say hello. If you need something, ask. We've got a great community here. Whether it's me, another coach, one of our veteran traders, someone who just joined us, we're all on the same side. We all want to see each other make money. That's what our goal is here, right? We want to help each other. I can't make your trades for you. You can't make my trades for me. But if I can help you, I will. And I'm sure if you can help me, you'd be happy to, right? The Clubhouse is a great way for you to be able to connect with other traders. And if you have questions or need to bounce some ideas around with folks, it's an awesome place. So certainly invite you to join us there over on the Clubhouse. Now let's kind of shift gears into what the schedule looks like. We're, like I said earlier, we're pretty regimented around here, but let's talk a little bit about it. Let's talk about the daily schedule first. Every market day, we're going to be with our team. First off, we're going to start off at 11 a.m. Eastern over here at Tackle Trading. We'll be in a Zoom room in our Traders Lounge. And that's where we can get together with the team each morning and address your questions, the things that you're running into. Maybe you're struggling with a particular strategy, and it would be really helpful to have one of the coaches walk you through beginning to end, putting together a bull call spread, going through the whole 9 yards. Maybe you're struggling with managing your trade and want to bounce some ideas around. Hey, you know what? This is the situation that I have going on. What are some things that I could do from a management perspective? Maybe you've got a chart you just want to get some other eyeballs on. Hey, I got a breakout candidate here. What do you guys think? Right? Who knows what questions I'll have or you'll have, but we'll all have them. and the lounge is specifically designed where we can get together and have those discussions and answer those questions for our team. That is every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. The lounge is the one show that we don't record regularly, because let's call it what it is. Nobody wants to go watch the lounge from December 14th of last year, right? But we can and will record snippets within there. It's not a huge deal for us to do. If we have a nice discussion on something, to hit the record button and get those snippets in here as well. So you can find the information to get you into the lounge here, just clicking on the lounge, but you'll find the snippets, intraday indicators, repair strategy for broken wing butterflies, trading off of gaps. So back spreads, lots of different things will be discussed in that lounge. And so definitely worth, kind of keeping up with some of the snippets. If your schedule is such that you just can't join at 11 a.m. Eastern, but you have a question, let us know. We'll try to do our best to accommodate you, get a little snippet for you and get it in here as well. We're always happy to do our best to accommodate our team. You're always welcome in the lounge. Just know that, and don't feel like your question it's the wrong place, the wrong time, right? Don't feel like your question's too advanced or too basic. We've got traders of all sorts of skill sets around here, but like I said earlier, we all want to see each other succeed. So never hesitate to ask questions. If you need some help, get in there and ask. That's exactly what we're here to do, is help you out. So that's what we're doing every market morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. Then shortly after that, at 12:30 Eastern time, we'll head over to YouTube to do, wow, that's a long page there. So we'll head over to YouTube to do our tackle trading halftime report, live looking on the market, where we can go through that daily routine with our team, talk about, hey, what's going on in the market today? How is it impacting our charts and the way that we're seeing our charts? How are the different areas of the market, be it the S&P, Bitcoin, crude oil, gold, stocks in the news, interesting chart development that maybe we're seeing, just really to go through that daily routine. Of course, that's live on YouTube every market day, 12:30 Eastern time. Being on YouTube, you guys know how that works. If you can't make it live but want to catch it later, be right there on our YouTube page, and certainly invite you to subscribe, hit the notifications while you're over there. That'll make sure you get alerted to any halftime report, but any of the other things that we're doing over there, which we'll talk about here before we're done as well. So that's 12:30. So every single market day, whether it's over here at Tackle Trading in our lounge at 11 or over on the halftime report on YouTube at 12:30, we'll be going through the market with our team every single day with you, because we got to go through this stuff too, right? And it's a lot more fun to do it together. At least for me, it is. So that's what our daily schedule is going to look like. Then we're going to have our evening schedule. Our flagship show is on Tuesday nights. Now, our general evening schedule is 8:30 p.m. Eastern is when we do our night shows. Certainly, the coaches show is no different. That's our flagship show, Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That's where a couple coaches can get together, and we're a couple days into the trading week at that point in time, so we can talk about, hey, what's going on, update the team on how we're seeing the market based off of the first 2 days of price action this week. But what it really is going to allow us to do from there is take one of the many, many, many topics that's available to us as traders, right? Whether it's indicators, hey, moving averages, stochastics, RSI, Bollinger Bands, right? Well, you can have a really good conversation on any one of those things, right? Or maybe it's a particular type of setup, trading retracements, trading breakouts. Maybe it's a particular type of strategy, scaling into bull call spreads or setting up call ratio back spreads. Maybe it's something like portfolio design or daily routine or trading through earnings. I mean, there's a million things that we could talk about as traders, right? The Coaches Show really is going to allow us to take one of those things and have a really in-depth discussion on that thing with our team. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun, very informative. Definitely would encourage you to take some time. Would love to have you live, but I understand schedules are schedules. If you can't make it live, it will be recorded and archived so you can watch it at a more convenient time. But very much worth your time. Definitely can't sell the Coaches Show enough. Definitely worth take an hour of your week to go have that discussion with the coaches. Then on Thursday nights 8:30 Eastern, we do our cash flow club. That's going to be, whereas the coaches show, really, we have this huge universe of potential topics, right, that we could talk about. The cash flow club is going to be much more narrowly focused, as the name would probably give away, on those cash flow strategies, those covered calls, those credit spreads, those condors, those naked puts, right? Building and managing those strategies, right? Because let's face it, once you know how to do a bull put spread, you know how to do a bull put spread, right? That's not the hard part, managing it, right? What do I do if it doesn't do anything? What do I do if it moves my way quickly or moves against me quickly, right? So we can really have those type of discussions on building and managing those cash flow strategies every Thursday night over in the cash flow club. Just like the coaches show, it is recorded, it is archived. If you can't make it live, the recording will be available. You can go back and watch as many cash flow clubs or coaches shows as you'd like, right? There's a huge list of archives in there if you want to find, if you want to go crazy, and definitely not the worst use of one's time to watch some of those previous episodes. So that's our Tuesday and Thursday schedule. Coaches show on Tuesday nights, cash flow club on Thursday nights. Wednesday, we do things a little bit different. On Wednesday nights, we do a YouTube webinar, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Tackle Trading YouTube channel. We do that for our team. And we also meet up with one of the members of, in a mastermind group, with one of the members of our premium systems, whether it's the Tackle 25 team, the Condor team, the Bear Market team, the Step team. So over here at Tackle Trading at 8:30 Eastern, we'll be meeting up with those team members in those mastermind groups. So we kind of have a double thing going on here at Tackle Trading on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. for our YouTube webinar, and then 8:30 p.m. meeting up in one of these mastermind groups for these premium systems. On Fridays, I'm going to hop over into the events calendar. You'll notice there's a Mind of a Trader in here, right? Mind of a Trader is, in a lot of ways, can be just about any other webinar in some ways. On Fridays, Coach Mark will do, whoops, I need to go to the events calendar. There we go. Coach Mark will do an end of the week wrap-up webinar an hour before the market closes, so 3 p.m. Eastern time. You can find the information to get into that right here, right? So here's the market bell for the 11th. When the time comes, get my information to get into that room with Mark. He'll do his commodity report live, but also sit down with the team and make some of those last minute decisions going into the weekend, management decisions, talk trade setups, just kind of wrap the week up the right way. He also, generally speaking, if his schedule allows it, which it usually does a Sunday night prep course as well at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Just kind of see, hey, based off of the futures market, on the open on Sunday, what are we looking at going into Monday morning? So you'll find the Mind of a Trader webinars in here as well. Coach Emily and the Women in Trading get together about once a month. I'm not a woman in trading, so I never get to go, right? But it works out to be about once a month. We'll always, make sure that you're very well aware of when that is. Fellas, I'm sorry, you'll have to find something else to do that night. But all of our ladies or fellas, if you have any women in your life that are interested or may be interested in trading, certainly invite them to hang out with some awesome traders in that Women in Trading Mastermind group. I don't get to go, so I don't know exactly what happens there, but I do know our team. I know they're having a lot of fun and getting a lot of good stuff done. I have no doubt about that. Tends to be towards the end of the month as a general rule. Like I said, we'll let you know when those are scheduled, so you have plenty of time to plan accordingly. But it would definitely, if you're a woman in trading, I would definitely encourage you to connect with the awesome females here at Tackle Trading, because they're great traders, great people, a lot of fun to be around, very helpful. Can't say enough nice things about them. So that's going to be what the schedule looks like. Kind of an easy way to think about it is our lounge is where we can answer your questions. It's really designed or specifically around you and what you need. Our halftime report really designed to go through that daily routine, staying on top of the market, right? And then our evening shows is where we can really focus on the teaching side of things, whether it's cash flow strategies, whether it's a plethora of different topics over in the coaches show, our YouTube webinar, our mastermind groups. Those evening shows are where you can really kind of put on the teaching hat, if you will, and take these subjects and have good in-depth conversations on them. like I said, pretty regimented, but as you're getting to know us, again, the events calendar is pretty helpful. And if you're, when is this? Where's the link to get into it? Just it's right in here, right? I'll just need to click on this tomorrow when it's time for the coaches show, and I'll get my information and I can join the show. Not a problem at all. So hopefully that explains the schedule for you a little bit. Now let's talk about that third component on that is our weekend reports. Now what we're doing as coaches here on Friday after the market closes, we all get together in what we call our scouting report meeting. We talk markets, talk about how we're seeing and approaching the market going into the upcoming week, how we're seeing the different sectors, the different commodities, right? What are we liking, trade setups that we're, eyeballing going into the upcoming week, and really just have a nice, long, and fun discussion on the market as we prep for next week. And out of that meeting comes our weekend reports. Now we'll refer to this collectively as the scouting reports, and we have a habit of saying scouting reports a lot. And if you're trying to find a scouting report, it can be a little confusing sometimes. It just encompasses all of these, right? The newsletter, the stock, option, commodity, and the Forex report. We collectively just refer to them as the scouting reports. Let's start with the newsletter, right? If you remember when we were looking at the 7-step guide to trading, or if you've already went through it, the first step is step 1 is start at the top of the market, right? And that's exactly what we're doing here in the newsletter. Now we'll get these to you on Saturday, so you have plenty of time to get through them, any or all of them before the market opens back up, on Monday morning. In the newsletter, we're going to, hey, what's going on in the market, right? So what are the storylines, right? The market's always got a story, and sometimes it's very obvious what the story is, and sometimes it's not so obvious, but there's always a story, right? Even on the most soapy of soap operas, there's always a story for those that are following along, right? So what are the storylines? What's going on in the market, right? What are the upcoming what does the economic calendar look like this week, right? What are the upcoming reports that might be worth keeping an eye out for as we go into the upcoming week? Of course, we'll have a detailed video talking you through this stuff, so you can kind of get an idea of where our collective heads are at as we move into the upcoming week. Where is the broad market? How are we seeing it? Where are we seeing support or resistance? Or are we looking for retracement, or whatever the case might be? The ETFs, if you need the index ETFs, are in here. DIA for the Dow Jones, QQQ for the NAS, IWM for the Russell, and of course SPY for the SPY if you need those ETFs. Coach Gino's Arkham high-low indicator that looks at the internals of the market, looks at over 8,000 stocks to see, hey, are we seeing stocks, hit highs or new lows, right? So often when we look at an index, we're looking at those big heavy hitters, right? Apple and Amazon and stuff like that, because they're so weighted towards those huge companies. The Arkham High Low is looking at over 8,000 companies. Hey, how are we doing, broadly speaking? So it's really doing a good job taking a look at the internals. So we should know, hey, if most stocks are making new highs, I mean, I'm maybe simplifying a little bit, but I'm a simple dude. If lots of stocks are making new highs, that's probably bullish, right? If lots of stocks are making, new lows, that's probably a bearish signal. So it's really handy, a little indicator that Coach Gino has put together. The seasonality chart. Hey, what does the market do this time of year from a historical perspective? We don't want to overread into that, right? Because this year can do whatever it wants, right? But seasonality can be really helpful if we don't overdo it, right? This, Christmas rally, right? October into December. This is almost exactly what the market looked like last year. And it sure looks a heck of a lot like it this year so far, right? We're about right here. So according to seasonality, we're going to get a pullback and we'll buy the dip, right? Well, we're not going to just go with that, right? But by knowing what it historically does, that can kind of help me in my decision-making process. I don't want to overvalue this, because if you remember, if you were around the market 2 years ago, it looked just the opposite of this, right? We had that sell-off in October, November into Christmas Day, and then we reversed the day after Christmas. So we don't want to overdo it, but it is, helpful information if we know, hey, the market usually performs this way this time of year. Same with the sectors, right? What sectors tend to be the strongest during this month? What sectors tend to be, relatively speaking, the weakest? Just because tech is, relatively speaking, historically the weakest sector in December, Doesn't mean I should be bearish on tech, right? It just means other things do better than it. Maybe I should be, right? But that's, again, I don't want to overvalue that information, but knowing how the market typically performs from a historical basis can be very helpful information, I believe. We're going to rank the sectors each week based off of what we're seeing on the companies that build up those sectors, right? And kind of just like our, our playbook, where we had 0, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3, doing it in a similar way here. Although, very, 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 very rarely are we going to be +3 on the market or -3 on the market, whereas I might be +3 on Tesla, right? On an individual equity or an individual commodity or an individual, cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, might be super bullish on that individual thing. But me, I'm never a 3 on the market, plus or minus. Never has happened. I seriously doubt it ever will. Collectively at Tackle Trading, we really aren't going to do that really all that often. You might see it once in a blue moon, but it's not going to be anywhere regular. But we are going to rank the sectors based off of what we're seeing on those stocks within those sectors, the setups within those sectors, where they're at, how the leaders are looking. And all things being equal, I usually have something I like better than something else, right? Just like you, just like everybody. We might not always agree on what that something is, but we're people. Of course, we have things we like more than others, right? And so that's really, really normal. So we can let you know how we're seeing the different sectors. Are we liking it more this week than we did last week? Are we liking it less than last week? We put it on a football field, as you can kind of see here. So if you're a football fan, if you're a football fan, I'm a Bronco fan. I watched I had no illusions that they were going to beat the Chiefs last night, but it was nice to see them put together a nice effort. And when you get to the 30-yard line, you're starting to feel pretty good, right? So when you're stuck around the 50 and between the 40s, you're like, well, I can't even get a field goal out of this, even if so that's what we're going to be doing on this each and every week. So you can understand how we're viewing these different sectors, what we're liking more than last week or less than last week. What do we think is the strongest sector or sectors in the market? What do we have a bearish rating on versus what do we have a bullish rating on? Not a lot of bears right now, right? In the market. That again won't always be true. And again, we can talk you through this, kind of our reasoning a little bit more in the video that we have here in the newsletter. Again, the sector spiders are in here. So if you need or want them for your daily routine or just to have access to them, they'll all be in here. Another friendly reminder to match the strategy to the situation, right? If I'm neutral or real slightly bullish, I probably don't want to go run off doing a bunch of long calls. It's just not matching my read of the situation, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but I still want to match the read of my read of the situation to the strategies that I'm using. Here's our pre-built scanner, right? So if one of these areas kind of caught your attention, you said, you know what, I kind of like what I'm seeing over in the financials, right? I'm just going to go ahead and hop over to it. This will bring you to a pre-built list on FinViz. I call these trader-friendly stocks. And what I mean when I say trader-friendly is they have great liquidity. So trading the shares, super easy. Lots of volume, not going to be a problem whatsoever getting in or out of the trades. They're optionable. Most of them have weekly option availability. Now with options, if you trade options, you know this already. Just because they have options doesn't mean you'd want to trade the options, right? That's a decision that I'm going to have to make for myself, but they do have option availability. So I can look at those chains and see if it'd be something I'd feel comfortable trading. So these are pretty friendly things to trade. So odds are, if I find a setup in here I like and I want to build a trade, odds are I'm going to be able to do it, right? And so just we'll go in and we can now just kind of scroll through and see if anything kind of jumps out to us. First thing that really jumped out to me was MTB here. We've got a pivot right here, dropped, rallied back up to close to it, got a little bit of ascending triangle type of deal happening on, trying to break these tops. Now, could I make a trade off of this MTB chart or any of these charts? Absolutely not. But I can kind of see, that's probably worth going in and looking at my actual charting platform to see if it's if it looks as good up close as it does from a bird's eye view. And believe me, sometimes it won't. So, but if you want to take a closer look, you can just click on it. We can get a closer look at it. So it looks like they've, got that pivot at 130 here. So, could be something I'd be interested in adding to my watch list. So just like that, I potentially, and you might not think that's interesting at all, and that's okay, right? But it can be that easy to kind of see what's going on. You're just gonna hit back to screener here, and this will take you back to the pre-built scanner for you. Very straightforward, pretty handy to be able to kind of browse through to see if there's anything that I like. Oh, look at all. If you know, I'm a breakout trader, right? Look at all. It's resistance, been consolidating. I think that's probably worth going and take a closer look at. Will I do anything with it? We'll have to see, right? That'll be a decision. That's a different decision. But as far as finding a potential trade candidate, I found a couple in the financial sector that maybe are worth taking a closer look at least in my personal opinion. So it's really handy to be able to do that. At least for me, I do that a lot. I'm a big fan of looking at charts. So if any of these areas catch your eyes, and again, maybe you like the ones I looked at, maybe you don't, but that's not the purpose. That's just an example of how useful this little tool can be. So that's going to be your newsletter, always where you want to start, right? We want to take that top-down approach, always a good idea. And then, of course, we're going to have the stock option, commodity, and Forex report. They're going to kind of focus on what their names kind of suggest they will, right? The Forex report, Coach Cody usually does that for us, does a great job alerting any of our Forex traders here of the setups that are going on the major pairs. He does a lot of teaching. What does the economic calendar look like? He does a great job. I'm not a Forex trader, but I always watch Cody's Forex report because if I ever want to do it, I don't think I'm going to. I'm kind of an old dog, but I don't know the future, right? And I learn a lot about the Forex market from Coach Cody in there. So a lot to be learned in regards to Forex. Coach Mark does a great job with our commodity report. He is doing that live in his Mind of a Trader week, at the Market Bell Friday webinar, where he's talking, the technicals and the fundamentals of the commodities market. What's going on in gold, what's going on in copper, what's going on in crude, where are these support levels that he's eyeballing. Does a really good job keeping our team up to date with what's going on over in the commodities market. Even if you don't like to trade futures, where commodities generally speaking are traded, there's a lot of things you can do especially with the metals like gold and silver and whatnot, through the equity market, right? There's gold ETFs, there's gold stocks, right? There's oil stocks, right? Energy stocks. So it's very much worth checking out. The stock and option report we built very similar to one another. Of course, the stock report is going to be built more specifically for stock trades, and the options report for option trades. But there is a little bit of gray area there, right? The stock report, let's go ahead and hop into the stock report here. We'll take a look at the stock and the option report. We're going to make sure that you have a watch list of vetted trading candidates each and every week. You may like them, you may not, right? You can trade what you like. We'll also take an opportunity to teach. Coach M did a great job kind of sharing her perspective. She's mostly a cash flow trader, but she does a little bit of directional stuff, did a great job kind of giving the team a little bit of a different perspective than maybe me or Grant or Noah or Coach Old Money Greg or whatever it might be. So we'll always take an opportunity to teach in addition to share our watch list. In the video, we can kind of talk you through, why did we decide to add this stock to our watch list? Where are we seeing, the technicals, breakout, a flag, breakdown, whatever it might be, kind of give you an idea of why these stocks made our watch list this week. We'll always have, both bull and bear lists. As tough as it's been to be a bear, we always want to be prepared, right? So I always want to have a few candidates if the market does start selling that I'd potentially be interested in going to the bear side. So we want to share some trade ideas with you, right? And like I said, these are just ideas. If you like them and want to add them to your watch list, great. If you don't, it's your money. You never have to explain to me why you do or don't want to do something with your own money. Now, in the stock report, if you want to trade an option strategy on something you find in there, go check the options, right? There's a good chance that the option liquidity is just not great. And that might be why it made the stock report instead of the option report. If the option liquidity is not there, it's not there. If you've ever been stuck in an illiquid option trade, you don't need me to tell you how much fun it isn't, right? If you haven't, I wouldn't encourage you to get stuck in an illiquid option trade. It's not any fun at all. But you can always check. And if their options are available and you are comfortable with them, great, right? That will certainly happen sometimes, but you always want to make sure you are double checking. Conversely, if you want to trade shares of the stock on things you find in the option report, that's not going to be a problem at all, right? And these things are have the liquidity that we feel that an option needs. We would be comfortable if any one of our coaches in the meeting says, I wouldn't be comfortable trading options on that, then it cannot make the options report. So we're all comfortable trading the options. It's still a good idea to check, make sure you're comfortable, right? But we would be comfortable trading the options on these trade candidates. In the stock report, because we're talking stock, we're not really talking about strategy selection, right? We're really exclusively, see if I can say that, exclusively focused on the chart, right? In the option report, of course, we're focused on the chart, but we're also going to talk a little bit about strategy selection as well, right? So of course, we're going to share that watch list. We're going to talk about selection this time. This week, Coach Tyler talked a little bit about, choosing your strike price, right? When do you maybe go out of the money, versus in the money? Again, we'll have a video just like the stock report, just like the commodity report, just like the Forex report, just like the newsletter, talking you through this stuff. So we'll use that as an opportunity to share our watch list as well as teach different things to members of our team. Just a couple of things really quick. These built-in charts are trading view charts. Some of you may be familiar with them. I'm very familiar with them. That's where I do my personal charting. There are a couple of really cool things I like to show people in here. This one right here is your trend line tool. So you can either, I know this is very useful, but you can draw, your trend lines, or you can draw your horizontal, support or resistance lines. That's a little more helpful in this case, right? If I want to get rid of it, I'll just left click it and just go hit this trash button, and then that will get rid of it. So that's pretty helpful. Of course, the time frame is up here. It's set as a default to daily chart because that's what we're primarily focused on, but maybe I want to go intraday to look for an entry or a stop loss. The little drop down here, 1 minute, 3 minute, 5, 15, 30, 45, hourly. Want to go longer, look at the weekly or the monthly chart. So your time frame is going to be here. There's kind of the default 1 minute, 30 minute, hourly, daily, but you have a lot more options if you hit that drop down there. If you prefer bar charts for whatever reason, you can, switch over there. Most of us traders use candlestick charts. If you want to add an indicator, it's this FX button here. Hit that and say, I want to go add the ATR, add the average true range, and then just close out of it. Now I've got the ATR. If you hover your mouse over the barrier between the volume and the indicator we just added and just hold your left mouse button down, you can scrunch it down as much as you would like to do so. Don't overdo the indicators on this because it's not going to save. So, add whatever you feel you need to add, but just know that when I leave this page and come back, all of these things that my indicators, lines and stuff, they're going to be gone. It's not going to save. So just kind of a heads up on that side of things. You can hit this widget button right here and that'll hide the widget, the watch list. We can just take a closer look at the chart, hit it again, it'll bring it back up. This guy right here, this is where we can build our longer short trades. So, Autodesk here, a little high base breakout candidate, right, on the bull side of things. So I'm going to go to long position and just going to quick do an example. So let's say I wanted to get in at 282.82, right? And again, this is just an example. So that's where I'm going to get in. Now I'm going to need to do some wiggling on this chart, right? So I'm holding my left mouse button down on the chart and that's what I'm doing there. If I come over here and do it on the numbers, it's going to scrunch her down. So now I got the chart where I kind of want it, right? So it's kind of where I want to see it. Let's say, for the sake of conversation, we've got a target in mind, whether it's the first or second target up here at $300, right? And let's say we're thinking about putting our stop loss below this little mini pivot that formed last week. Well, we now know that we're risking $1 to get $1.88. So we're a little shy of that 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio that many traders, myself included, kind of have as the minimum. So if 300 is my second target, I'm going to need to figure out something else. If it's my first target and 310 is my second target, probably just fine, right? Maybe I can, I want to tighten that up a little bit. What if I went below yesterday's low or today's low for my stop loss? What's that going to look like? Risking $1 for $2.83. So it's going to do the math for us, right? So we can, really focus in on that risk to reward ratio that's so important to us traders. It's also really helpful because it kind of gives us a visual, right? If I told you tonight that my target price was 330, I might be right? But when I do that, when I draw it, I'm like, wow, that's a lot, right? That seems too much, right? To me, at least, seems too much. So it really helps kind of, visually, for me at least. I use this a lot. It's really helpful. Saves me a ton of time on math. helps visually. It's going to work both ways. If I have a bearish trade and want to build, I can do it the same thing, just the other way, right? If I want to go in, I'm interested in a bear play on Hormel. If it breaks this low, maybe that's where I want to get in. That's where I'd get in, and I got a target price in mind of $45. And while I don't know where my stop would be necessarily, I can kind of see what that would look like. So it's a pretty handy tool. Again, it's this one right here, the drop down menu, long or short. There's a lot of other tools in here as well, but those are some of the big ones that I think everybody can get a lot of use out of right out of the gates. This one in particular saves me a tremendous amount of time, and I'd definitely like to share that with folks. But kind of coming full circle, we want to make sure you have some actionable ideas each week in the areas that you focus on, whether it's just stock trading, equity trading through stock and options, trading in the currency market, trading commodities, all of the above. We want to make sure you have some reasonable ideas going into the upcoming week. What you do with them is your business, right? And most of us you'll probably be like most of us. We'll take the ones we like and add them to our watch list, and the ones that for whatever reason we just don't like, just wish people the best who do like them, right? So I don't have to trade anything, but as a trader, if I have an interesting trade setup, I'm more than happy to share it. And I've known a lot of traders, they all pretty much would say the same thing. So that's going to be our weekend report. We'll get these to you on Saturday. My advice is to go through the newsletter first, start at the top of the market and work down. Don't be afraid to prioritize, right? I would rather do a great job on the options report than a so-so job on the stock, option, commodity, and Forex report, right? As time goes on, you'll get faster, but don't be afraid to, prioritize, right? Forex is not a market that I work in. I watch the Forex report every week, but usually not on Sundays when I'm going through my personal routine, because I'm not going to do anything with it on Monday morning. I'm still going to watch it. And I still encourage you to do the same thing. But on Sunday, it's Sunday. Right now I'm watching football, and now it's going to be holidays, right? I might not have time to go through all of these reports on Sunday night. I'm going to prioritize. Of course I am. And I think everybody should. I would still go through all of them. I still do. And I think you'll learn a lot from each and every one of them. But, it's perfectly normal. If Forex is your number one market, you're going to do that one before the options report, right? So having priorities is not a bad thing. And in many ways, we can build our own tackle trading here as we get ready to wrap up. We do a lot, right? We've got a lot of content. We've got keep you busy on the day-to-day basis. Got a lot of courses and things to work through. Every week we're doing reports. Every week we're talking trades all over the place. It's okay if you can't do it all. Most people can't, right? We have a wide range of traders here. New traders, old traders, retired traders, people who spend 30 minutes a night, people that spend all day long doing this stuff, everything in between, right? Don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading. You might use a little different if you're a brand new trader. You might be focused more on things like the technical analysis 101 and the newsletter and the stock report and going through your routine over on the trade center. If you're a veteran trader who's been doing this game for a while, you might spend a little more time in the cash flow club where you're incorporating cash flow strategies to your already existing delta based trading. You might be spending more time in the commodities report, and it's okay, right? It's okay to, hey, these are the things. I call it a tether. We can listen to as much as we want, but one thing we can all easily do is get overwhelmed, spend a lot of time working and not get anything done. And that's always frustrating in any aspect of life. Trading is no different, right? So keep your tether. Hey, this is what I'm focused on. This is my priority. And if my priority is, getting my rules set up for my breakout trades and whatever it might be, when Coach Tyler's in there talking about an iron condor, I'm going to listen, but I'm not going to let it drag me down a rabbit hole, right? I'm going to say, oh, this is cool, but maybe I'm not quite ready for this yet. Let's keep this in the back of our mind. Let's listen, but let's get back to work on what we're focused on. Keep a tether. You can call it whatever you want, but be smart with the time that you have, right? It's very important, obviously, just in reality, but it's also psychologically, right? If I feel like I'm getting somewhere, I'm going to do it again tomorrow, right? If I feel like I'm grinding away and nothing good's happening out of it, I might get burned out, and I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen to me, you, or anybody. So don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading, have your own priorities set, and they'll change over time. Make no mistake about it. They absolutely will, but don't feel like it's easy to feel like everybody else besides you does everything, right? It's always, even me, I know that nobody does everything, but sometimes it feels that way where how the heck do they do all of these things? Well, short answer is most of them don't. They have the things that they focus on, right? So, and that's life. That's normal. So I hope this was helpful. A couple of other things. We've got our Tackle Today, the email each and every day. You can get that email. You might already do so, but if you would like to, just click on Tackle Today. You can sign up for the daily email, just a quick read to get your day started right each and every market morning. If you ever want any information on, any of our courses or anything like that, or our premium systems, you can head over into the store. We're active on all the different social media platforms. We talked a lot about YouTube for our webinars, but we've got a lot of other content over there, a lot of how-tos, a lot of walkthroughs, a lot of what are type of videos, a ton of content over on YouTube for our team members, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. I'm a Twitter user. You'll find me on Twitter. I do a lot for the Tackle Trading Twitter. Got my own Twitter, Frank Martin 23. If you're ever looking for me, you're more than welcome to come join us over there. I've just started up a Facebook group last week. If you're a Facebook user, it should be a lot of fun over in the Tackle Trading Facebook group. Another way to bounce ideas and talk trading with like-minded individuals. Active on Instagram, LinkedIn. So if you're using any of these platforms, I certainly invite you to join us. Would love to have you over there. And certainly always room for one more. Our clubhouse is over here on Tackle Trading, and that's just us. If you're the type of person that just doesn't like social media, I get that. Clubhouse is just trading, just us, nothing else. Great way to be able to still connect with other traders without having to, if you don't want to open a Facebook account, you don't want to open a Facebook account, right? So that's okay. It's about, connecting in ways that we're comfortable, right? I don't have to, use LinkedIn if I don't want to. You can, nothing wrong with it, but I'll use Twitter. I like Twitter sometimes. So I wasn't able to see the chat tonight. I could never figure out how to see that. So I apologize if anyone had any questions this evening. Don't hesitate to shoot an email to team@tackletrading.com if you had any questions and need some answer there. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to figure that one out. I don't know why I was able to do it last time I did a YouTube webinar, but this time not so much. But hopefully this explained tackle trading for you, gave you some better ideas of what we're doing, when we're doing it, where you can find it. Hopefully I will see you around. I have no doubt that I will. I'm around a lot. You'll see me on Twitter. You'll see me in the clubhouse. You'll see me in some other shows. You'll see me on Fridays in the halftime report each and every week. This won't be goodbye by any stretch of the imagination. This will just be good night. It was my pleasure spending some time with you. I hope it was helpful. Have a great week, both in and out of the market. And I will look forward to seeing each and every one of you somewhere in the